Welcome to our very dear newcomer ambassadors. You will soon meet some of the most interesting and resilient students who are coming from different parts of the world. We hope that you will be able to see the beauty of the world through the eyes of your newcomer English learners. Hello, let me introduce our team once again. My name is Margaret Isala Rotacchio, and I have the honor of serving our English learners who are newly arrived in the country as a newcomer facilitator for the Department of ELL. I work with Sarai Dominguez, one of our newcomer aides. Together, we serve students who are recent immigrants in K-12 who are classified as newcomer English learners. We work closely with LPAC coordinator Ms. Diana Pecorino and her team, as well as the rest of the ELL department, in order to best support our newcomers. Before we review our terms, know that all of our documents we will share with you are linked in this presentation, and they are also available in this section of the Google Classroom. Let us begin by reviewing our term. As mentioned in our department video, the term newcomer is for students who are in their first year in the United States and they are classified as a non-English speaker, or they are at the beginning level of language proficiency. For more definitions, please visit the newcomer page on the Shelter GISD Google site. Now that we know who our newcomers are, let us look at the word ambassador. The term is derived from Middle English and also Anglo-French ambassadeur, meaning servant or minister. Ambassadors are also defined as official envoys or representatives with special assignments. The term is also associated with diplomacy. Thus, ambassadors carry out their duties with diplomatic demeanor, keeping in mind building cultural relationships successfully. Now that we've defined our terms, let's look at your role as the newcomer ambassador. Since the main goal for newcomers is to ease their transition to their new environment and ensure their success, as the newcomer ambassador for your campus, you will be the main advocate for our newly arrived English learners. You will help ease their transition as they begin their schooling life in the U.S. You will also be their champion who will work with other stakeholders in your campus to help newcomers achieve their potential. In order to better assist our newcomers, let us look at some of the important information. We will review how we identify newcomers. We will also talk about the Newcomer Achievement Plan, the SIFE questionnaire, and the resources that are unique to our newcomers. When students arrive at Student Services and their home language survey is a language other than English, they will take the LastLinks test. LastLinks determines the level of proficiency in English. Depending on how the student scores, it can be determined whether they are limited proficient and will be offered services as an English learner in a traditional campus, or a student with little to no English, or a newcomer EL. Students who are newcomers typically have indicators in their enrollment placement form. It will usually have a check on recent immigrant and newcomer EL. Sometimes they come with extra documentation, and depending on this, they can have other indicators such as asylee, refugee, or SIFE. Students with interrupted formal education. Once they are identified, they are offered appropriate program and services, and then they arrive at your campus. When students arrive at your campus, the yellow form, or the enrollment placement form, will have indicators of their testing and coding at the bottom, as mentioned in the previous slide. These can also be seen in skyward and in elevation, as mentioned by Ms. Pecorino in the LPAC video. Newly arrived students coming from other countries will have a recent immigrant indicator in their yellow form. However, not all recent immigrants are automatically labeled as newcomers. If the recent immigrant tested in LastLinks as a non-English speaker, then there will be an additional indicator or check on the box for newcomer EL. Depending on documentation, they can also have other checks such as asylee, refugee, or SIFE. These other indicators can be added later on to their profile. How does this happen, and what is your role in this? Recent immigrants, especially those who lack proficiency in English, typically do not give all of their information as they lack understanding and are sometimes daunted by enrollment process itself. As the newcomer ambassador, eventually you will earn the trust of these students and families, and that gives way for them to share more pertinent information with you that can be added to their profile to better assist them. For example, some only share documentation about their refugee or asylee status when they feel comfortable with a person on campus. If they do this, you can share this information to the LPAC and student services so that it can be added to their profile and also their documentation. This typically helps in understanding how to better assist them academically and linguistically. The Newcomer Achievement Plan is one of the interviews you will conduct with the newcomers in the campus to help you have a better understanding of the newcomer. To better understand this, let us look at the document together. First, we want to tell you that when you click on the links of the documents, it will prompt you to make a copy. We did it this way in order for you to be able to save your own copy of the documents right away. Let me show you how this works. So when I click on the document, I have to make a copy. And you will be able to see the Newcomer Achievement Plan. When you first open the Newcomer Achievement Plan, you will see on the right-hand side the important message to be shared to our newcomers. As their advocate, you are encouraged to share this with all of the newcomer teachers. As you interview, fill out the necessary information. After the information portion, you will observe the students as they perform a task. For every task, record a score point based on your observations and their actions. The observation and goals boxes do not need to be having a lot of details. You can choose some of the goals located at the last page if you think that the student needs it based on your interview and observation. Once you have done the interview, you may write one main short-term goal for each of the category for the student. You can choose or combine some of the goals from the last page or write it in your own words depending on what you think the student needs at this time to help ease his or her transition into a U.S. school and to help ensure that he or she will get the support needed to be successful. These goals will be reviewed by semester to see if these help and if these new goals or if there are new goals that are needed. If you will look at some of the goals in here, you might think that some of them may be trivial. For example, students will be given a tour of the school and a walk of their daily schedule. Student will be taught basic greetings in English. Student will be taught words and how to politely ask for help. May I go to the bathroom? May I sharpen my pencil? These are things that we may not actually think about, but these are so important for our newcomers. Asking them to memorize their ID numbers, especially if they're coming from a country where they don't do that, is very important. They also should be able to know how to go to the bathroom without having to be panicked by not knowing what to say. So these are just some of the things that you will help the newcomers with. It's also very important to note that you want them to have access to some of these resources that we will talk about later on. Some of these tasks are going to ask you to do something that is tangible with the student. And because of COVID-19, we considered all of this. So let me show you another document. Since at this moment, GISD is still in virtual learning until September 7th, and we consider the importance of social distancing when students are physically in school, we adapted how you normally would conduct this face-to-face interview into one where you could schedule a virtual interview via Google Meets with the students. The document Newcomer Achievement Plan Slides for Virtual Interview will be your tool in order to interview newcomers and have them fulfill the task without needing the tangible materials yet. We will use these slides in the meantime until we are able to safely conduct the task as per health guidelines from district, local government, and state. After conducting this interview, you will have a better feel of the student's personality, background, and experiences. It would be very important to share your observations with the teacher as well as the goals you chose for them. Once you finish, upload this document in Elevation under the student's profile so all of the student's teachers will have access to the document. When we meet in the next few weeks, together with Ms. Pecorino, we will be able to answer some of your questions on how to better conduct this document and the next document that I'm about to show you. The next important document for newcomers is the SIFE questionnaire. As mentioned earlier, oftentimes students do not fully divulge their background during enrollment. When they arrive at your campus, one of the LPAC responsibilities is interviewing students regarding their schooling history. English learners who have been in the country for a while usually have documentation from previous districts, so you are easily able to track if they have gaps in schooling. With newcomers, sometimes you need to do a little bit more digging. As you are getting to know your newcomer and his or her documents, you might be able to see that he or she already has a SIFE indicator on her profile. Or the student or parent may be mentioned moving around a lot and you notice struggles during your newcomer achievement interview. As you advocate for the newcomer, conduct the student history worksheet in conjunction with the SIFE questionnaire in order to better gather information on how to support your newcomer EL. Let us look at this short video that gives us a glimpse of the different classrooms around the world before we delve into the SIFE document. I hope you enjoyed that short video. As you can see in the video, not all classrooms are the same, which also goes to say that not all learning and educational systems are the same. Depending on a country's resources, students are not usually equally afforded the same opportunities, whether it's a conducive learning environment or resources and materials. As you keep this in mind, let us take a look at the SIFE document. Again, you will be asked to make a copy. And let us view this together. The document begins with some of the definitions of SIFE, or students with interrupted formal education. Some students with interrupted formal education lack months or years of schooling, or they were not afforded the same type of schooling and resources that we have here in the United States. Thus, the questions you will ask here will help you have a better glimpse of their schooling life prior to going to school in the United States. For example, school months are different in different parts of the world. A school day may also be different. In questions number 5, 6, and 7, and even 8, as you ask a student about their classroom, sometimes you will find that their classroom consists of 60 to 70 students, or they did not have a teacher for every class, and they did not have enough books and resources. These circumstances add to the students' lack of formal education. This will also help you gain some access in terms of what students know in technology. Once you are done gathering information, you will answer the checklist at the bottom in terms of years or months missed or resources that were lacking in their school. Based on this, you can determine if the student is SIFE based on the period of time lost, or the lack of quality education, or a combination of both. If this is determined, inform your LPAC administrator or LPAC teacher in the campus. They will need to conduct an LPAC instructional conversation and send the name and ID of the student to Student Services Intake Counselor assigned to your school and copy Karina Trotter. You may also email us for questions regarding this. Aside from the SIFE document I just showed you, you may also use this Google form to input your interview answers, as we know that printing may be a challenge, especially if you are working remotely. What we've done is we basically converted the SIFE document to a Google form for you. When you click on this, you will be able to make a copy, and this will help you save the form as your own, and you can see your own entries and data. Lastly, since newcomers are recently arrived, and adjusting to a new country, especially if you don't know the language, can be very hard, we offer resources that are unique to newcomers. All newcomers can be assigned a Rosetta Stone account. Email Sarai Dominguez with the name, ID, and school of the newcomer student in your campus so we can create a Rosetta Stone account for them. In grades 6 to 12, we also offer English discoveries, which help in language proficiency and literacy. Imagine Learning is available to all elementary students automatically. In secondary, newcomers at Memorial Pathway Academy has access to this, as well as newcomers who did not choose to go to MPA. Contact Sarai Dominguez or myself, Margaret Bertacchio, for assistance in getting them set up with Imagine Learning accounts in secondary. As mentioned in our department video, Ms. Sheila Southard is our social worker and she is currently based at the Newcomer Center Memorial Pathway Academy. Our newcomer families, being new to the country, usually need some assistance in different services. Ms. Southard is able to assist our newcomer students and families in this. There is a link for more information in this slide, and there is also a link for the family needs form that you can fill out for your newcomer needs such as food assistance, shelter, and other services. Lastly, our newcomer English learners sometimes have parents who are newcomer English learners themselves. Our Family and Community Engagements Facilitator, Ms. Sofia Nunez, provides workshops and informational sessions as well as free ESL classes for adults and Spanish GED. Share the information to your newcomer parents if they are interested in these workshops and classes. Thank you so much for listening and for your service to our newcomers. Please don't hesitate to email us for any questions, clarifications, and support. Please take our short review quiz on our presentation. Thank you and have a great week.